Hi, welcome to Beat Lighthouse podcast. Lorena here, today in Miami with Christine. Christine C.J. Johnson has become a celebrated figure in the tech industry. Her remarkable career has earned her the reputation of being a multiplier and super connector who brings together diverse stakeholders to create impactful communities. Welcome, Christine. Thank you so much to join us today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Many people believe that technology is an exact science, but I firmly believe it is above all a human one. With your background in art and psychology and your involvement in both communities and the technology industry, how do you perceive the importance of the human perspective in the tech industry?
You know, technology, the arts, it's all creativity, it's all expression. I have had a career, I studied psychology in college. I didn't continue it. I was just really interested in learning about myself to help navigate the world. So from that human perspective, I've just been a student of just people. I enjoy people and the energy of people, and people are we're naturally creative. It's about expression. So landing in the tech space with that from that lens has really been my driver, just to show up for people, creative circles. We're all just trying to express ourselves, whether you have a canvas or you're building a product, a business, you're iterating, you're rehearsing, you're testing, you're performing in a way as well. So the human component is really about being creative and expressing, and that's really the space that I find myself in. As an example, there's no magic to the fact that tech and art landed in Wynwood. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? So coming from DC, I was familiar with Wynwood before there was a Wynwood, by the way. Yeah, I was here in 0304, and I helped with the Wynwood branding.
Great.
Yeah, so I've always had a love affair with this community. So around 2010, 2011, when I started to see the energy here, and I noticed that the tech community would start off in Wynwood, that made sense to me because we're all creatives. We're naturally expressive. And so just the energy to be just that collision there just made sense to me.
Invite our audience to go to Wynwood. I don't know if all of them know, but please tell more about where is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wynwood is an arts district in Miami.
Perfect.
There's just so much activity. It's become quite a tourist attraction with beautiful murals everywhere. Lots of funky energy, parties, DJs, just great food for the foodies. I know the millennials love the food.
When you are there, you know that it's Wynwood.
Yes. So it's exciting. And then you have the tech community with the WeWork is there now. A lot of other co-work spaces. It's just an amazing spot for creative energy and just very walkable as well.
Yes, I agree. You actively participate in various communities, even helping bring some to life, right? What criteria do you use to decide whether to join a community, and what initiative do you suggest for aspiring female entrepreneurs to engage in?
So for me, it's really important to identify communities that I can bring value. I like, which is why I like emerging economies, emerging ecosystems. I want to look for the gaps and see if there are ways that I can bring my superpowers, if you will, to help grow and advance that community. I started off in this tech space as a community ecosystem builder, helping to foster the growth of the Washington, D.C., Baltimore corridor in Northern Virginia, I should say. So that really has informed my work, looking for spaces that I can bring my value, I can bring my connectivity, my business development strategy, economic, whatever, to really help move the needle in communities. So that's really important to me. As for female founders, I think one thing that I say to women in business, women in tech, or any group that's categorized as minority in this space is that it's very important to find your tribe. It's important to find that affinity group that you can connect with, you can come back and be fortified and strengthened, and that you can really have a safe space to be in solidarity, because it's rough out there. It's really tough.
Yeah.
So you have to have somewhere to come home.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? To
Yeah.
like normalize your experience as well. But in saying that, I also highly discourage that being your primary place that you land and stay. If you look at the 80-20 rule, you really need to make sure that you're not distancing yourself from the dominant culture and energy and opportunities that exist. How can you be at that dinner table that has the investors? How can you identify the resources that you need? You do so by being present in the larger ecosystem. After doing that, of course, come back to your crew and get fueled up. But it's really important. And the crew could be 2 or 3 people. It could be one person. I think that we
Since we are looking at the same direction, right?
Yeah, to connect. And I'm sure you've had that experience too. It's just a different conversation with someone that has a similar experience in the space, and it keeps you grounded, and it helps you to continue on that road a little bit longer because it's normalized and you feel supported and heard somewhere as well.
Yeah. From the moment I start following you online, I noticed the kindness and generosity you infuse into every small action. Your care for people is evident in your writing, speech, and behavior. You just show it for us. Undoubtedly, you've faced several complex challenges, right, along your journey. Mm-hmm. How did you maintain such a generous spirit even in the face of adversity?
For me, it has always been important to honor myself and to make sure I'm in spaces that align with who I am. And saying that everywhere, it doesn't feel like a safe space, right? But it's okay. But I'm very driven by the spirit of connecting. And I'm driven by the spirit of possibilities. And in this tech and innovation space, like, that's all there is. Entrepreneurship is just nothing but energy and possibilities and dreamers, right? It's just, it's so magnetic. So in cases where I do have challenges, which I have had many, I've hit walls, I've had doors that would not open. I've created my own rooms. I've created my own organizations. I've created my own space that's unique to me and my value proposition. No one can do what I can do from my lens because of all the culmination of the experiences that I've had in my life, professionally and personally. I bring a unique value proposition and an ability to creatively strategize around business in a way that no one can do. I'm able to make connections in a way that no one can do. So my network is very deep and it's vast because of who I am. So through those challenges and adversity, I really just try to continue forward and just stay focused on the quality of life that I want to have, and just from a spirit of giving and a spirit of possibilities. I want to connect people to the stuff that I have, right? Because I want those entrepreneurs to be successful. I want the academic institutions to be successful. I want these huge legacy institutions that I'm able to be a part of their teams to be successful. And So that's just, it's just really continuing to honor myself and what I want to bring to the world and my unique value proposition.
I'm so proud of your journey. You're
Thank
an
you.
inspiration for all of us. With your extensive experience as a company advisor, could you share at least 3 value suggestions that you believe every founder should receive when creating a new venture?
So I'm going to move beyond the obvious things and dig in again from my unique lens. This is something I have told my companies, especially those that are starting out in this space as early stage founders. Talent, we need to talk about the tech talent as well. So 3 things. It's under the umbrella of being mindful of the communities that you grow in. First, alignment. And I know I've mentioned that before, but that word, it's so critical. Making sure that the community that you're growing in aligns with your core value system.
Perfect.
Because that value system that they have informs how they engage with you from whatever vantage point, whatever category, right, on whatever stage, how they engage with you as a startup, how they do the work of creating resources and opportunity for those that are startups, entrepreneurs, small businesses. And it also informs how they even communicate or open up doors for this segment. The second thing is to really go deeper with the data. It's important to look at the industry that you're targeting, the market, the audience, all those things, again, that are really textbook. But go deeper with that data. Ask conversations around the story of the data.
And to know what I have to do with the data, because sometimes I need the data, but what do you do with it, right?
Exactly, like helping it to inform your decisions.
Because after all, we have to be in an action. It's not a kind of information, but you have to transform it in something great, right?
Yeah, and use it to your benefit.
Exactly.
And also take advantage of the business leaders in that community to have conversations about the data. I don't know what your experience has been, but for me, numbers, okay. You read the narrative in the business journals and things like that, but when you have real conversations with those in that business community, they really help to shed a different light on that data to help inform you.
Amazing.
And the third one, actually, I think that's important is not to be landlocked. So what I mean by that is make sure that you're planted in a place that will nourish your growth. I've seen entrepreneurs that naturally you start building where you are, but sometimes it's really not in service to them. And then they go to other communities and they just flourish. They get investment, they find community, just all the things, and they really are catapulted to another trajectory of success. So if
it's
you're
a hard decision, right?
It's really hard.
Yeah, but necessary as well.
Yeah, and I think too, it's hard, and it also depends on if you have the means to do it too, right? Which is a whole other conversation, but there's a way to build community even if you can't go there physically. You have to always be building community and relationships. We're in a virtual world, so there's no excuse, quite honestly.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
You are recognized as a super connector, bringing people and business together. Developing such a skill requires heightened sensitive and consistent understanding. I would love to learn more about this mission.
So I've been blessed, and I'm going to use the word, I feel like I've had the privilege of being in the room with stakeholders that people would die to connect with and develop relationships with. And earlier in my career, that's where I landed. I've been an entrepreneur multiple times, one of which I had an event planning and marketing company, and I also work with public-private partnerships. And so I was in the space with investors. I was in the space with elected officials. I was in the space with so many amazing people that were able to change the course of founders. And so being in that space, for me, I realized that I had to start opening a door for others. There's no way I could maximize the opportunity of being there just solely. And quite honestly, that's very selfish of me. So I really became a person that started to connect those that could leverage these opportunities, the people resources, the capital, all that, and really bring them in the room. So that was really important to me. That's how I became this connector. And
important to you and for us as well.
amen.
Thank you for being
Thank
this kind of
you.
person and this kind of mindset we need. We need it.
And we all can be connectors. I love the name ecosystem builder, community builder, super connector, because that means that founders, even the enterprise level, I've been tagged by stakeholders like accelerators, incubators, university leads, whoever, economic development organizations, to just give insights and do very meaningful connections. And it's an honor and a pleasure. And I think it's something that we all should be doing. We all need to be deputized, if you will, to be these ecosystem builders and connectors. And that will really help to move the needle with a lot of the relationship gaps that many founders have.
Yeah, when you said all of us, we can be a connector, I agree with you. I think that we should decide to be one, because sometimes most of us in this selfish moment and thinking, oh, I have to achieve this goal, and say, look around, just let's help and support each other, and then we can do it together and grow together and learn together.
Yeah. And I think it also depends on the stage that you're at too. I think there is a point to be selfish. There is a point. But there has to be a level where you start to give back and bring others in the room. Quite honestly, I think there should be a way to always leave a door open behind you as you walk in. However, realistically, sometimes, especially as founders you're trying to get investment, you're trying to get that rock star mentor or sponsor, it's not always possible in that moment. But the general business community, what you're doing, you're giving back. There's so many levels and so many variables and players or actors, as everyone likes to say, that can really move the needle and support the growth of this community just by introductions and helping with insights.
You've worked with both major technology companies and small business, right? How do this experience differ, and what do you have learned from each?
Honestly, I want to flip the question a bit.
Sure, please.
And share a commonality that they all have. I don't care if you're early stage to the titans. Everyone's a mess. Everyone's a mess. Everyone can be very sloppy. And everyone's trying to figure it out and flow as the economy shifts, as these, the emerging technologies are integrated, all these disruptions, there's just so much to always keep track of. Of course, the level of vulnerability for an early stage founder versus a larger company is different, but everyone's figuring it out. And but there's beauty in the chaos too. There's beauty in the sloppiness and the messiness, because that's where the great ideas come from. So I want to share that, because I like to normalize people's experiences. You look at that that top executive even, or that Titan company, and you think, oh, they have everything together, and you go and you meet with them and you're anxious and you're guess what? They're a mess too. We're all, circling back to the top of our conversation, humanity. We're all people.
Yeah.
Right? These
Yeah.
leaders and these companies are built by people. So looking
Absolutely.
at that, like the conditions are changing so much every day, especially now. There's so much to contend with. But I like to share that because I think it eases you a bit as you build and you fumble and you try to get up again and all of that. We're all just people.
I agree. I totally agree. Can you share a project or accomplishment that you're particularly proud in your career?
Yeah, I'm really thankful. Like I really sit in gratitude because there's so much that I really feel proud of. Even my tough moments, very challenging times. But I think a couple of things have come to mind. Excuse me, as I look around the different business communities that I have helped to foster the growth of, or just seeing like the young talent that I've been a part of their growth and seeing them do amazing things, public sector leaders with their companies, entering the space or whatever space it is, quite honestly. But I really feel proud that I've fueled the pipeline with amazing people. I'm not taking 100% credit for everything that they, of course, but I've been blessed to be able to mentor and just softly coach some wonderful young industry leaders. And I say young industry leaders because, or new to the industry, I'll say as well. It's not just about the youth, it's people are transitioning in this space that I've really helped. And looking around at that makes me feel good. And even some of the companies that I've kind of done great things with. And I think too, one thing, especially right now in this season for me professionally at this time of my career, it's like amazing, a little over 20 years since I've been in this space. I think at this point for me, I'm really proud of what I'm building now, harnessing all my good stuff and my good energy to help companies find cool
We can feel it, by the way,
opportunities.
all the
Oh,
time.
good. I feel so like this is my first time just talking about where I am at this moment. So thank you for this.
Do you know, when I asked you about the project, you
Yeah.
bring people. So, do you know, it's so strong for me. So, it's so nice. Thank you for it.
Yeah, thank you. Like this is so important. The storytellers are critical. But no, those are the things I'm thankful for. I think I guess if I love to share, I recently to be announced, but I've had the pleasure of helping a pretty big brand identify some strategic partners for a project, and that was amazing.
But to build great projects and company and product, we need people, right?
We
So
need people.
they are building it.
It's
It's not a kind of,
people.
yeah.
Just
yeah.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's I feel good about. Just looking around and seeing how that I feel like I have made an impact, I should say.
How do you drive innovation in your work and organizations you work with?
Yeah, so very simply, but maybe not so simple, it's all about cross-pollination, like making sure that we expose others to this bubble that we live in, this tech and innovation ecosystem, this space. So from legacy, larger, older organizations and institutions to industries that have not really intersected as much with the tech community. The community in their backyard, by the way. It's important for me to create spaces and opportunities for those collisions, for that cross-pollination. Too often, our silo, our bubble, this tech and innovation stuff exists totally separate from the greater business community and or community in general. Someone could be right next door to a large tech company and not even realize what's happening inside those four walls. So I like to be very intentional about making sure that there's cross-pollination and introducing the tech community to these larger groups through my own events, through programming. When I have had a 9 to 5, much of my role is I position it as always bringing in our bubble into that organization to help push opportunities, partnership, connect talent, all that to those organizational members and leaders. So I try to really bring in our bubble and this amazing energy to intersect it, because great things happen when you just put them in a room as a start. There are multiple steps, right? But as a start, I think it's important to educate those outside of our bubble of the opportunities and what's really happening, so that they can be encouraged and learn about ways of accessing those technologies and those the talent as well.
You're talking about technology. Tell us about what trends you've seen emerging in the intersection of technology and nonprofit and associations.
I think that, like most right now, they're trying to figure out this AI space. So AI has not been, it's not new to those of us who've been in technology, right? Like
the past 10 years,
right.
I've been working like
it's been coming for a while. Yeah. It's honestly, it's been coming for a while. And
I think that is important. Notice it, because sometimes you say, hey, do you know what's happening now? Yes, we know what's happening for the past 10 years, right? But obviously it's a big changer now. We have to say it, but...
Totally. It's more in the mainstream now.
Yeah.
But they're trying to figure out where they fit in with all this artificial intelligence. What does it mean for us? And what tools can we use, and how do we connect? And it's really interesting because they're still also trying to figure out their tech stack in general, right? So now you're talking about AI, like what's going on in this whole world? So I think, like most, they're trying to figure out this beast of AI that's really trending right now. But it's critical for all organizations to figure this out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have to find some path in terms of AI. I think that we have a huge opportunity to build with these new technologies involved in AI, machine learning, etc. But
Agreed.
I think that it will help a lot in terms of we can support people, we can find the best way to bring it and to connect people through the AI as well.
Through it. And at the end of the day, the reality is we must figure it out.
Yeah,
because it's here.
Totally agree with you. There's no choice for
us. There's no choice. So it's an opportunity. We just have to approach it with without fear and moving away from that narrative, and see how we can really leverage it to help us be more competitive, more efficient, and connect. So it's really critical for everyone, quite honestly.
I agree. I totally agree. Can you share some advice for those who are interested in a career path similar to yours? I know that's a long journey. I know that's not something static, but
I was gonna say I would just encourage to not do what I did. Come on. But to the point of your unique lens and value, really look at how you can bring impact to communities based on who you uniquely are and your powers, and the totality of yourself also. This is a great space. It's like a playground. So you can reinvent yourself and find ways to fit in, to bring impact. There's so many organizations. Like tech is in everything.
Yeah.
Innovation is in everything. So just approach it from a lens of a perspective of play. Think about what you want your life to be and the things that you enjoy as you kind of roadmap for yourself. And I would also say never be afraid to pivot. Again, in this space, you can pivot and still stay grounded in this community and bring impact. And
you can pivot and respect yourself at the same time, right?
Totally. It's
because we are changing all the time.
All the time. Yeah. And the days of staying somewhere 30 years, they've been gone, you know? So I would say just look at who you are uniquely and just enjoy and jump in and know that you're going to grow, because the business community is ebbing and flowing. You have to keep pace with things too. So look at your unique value prop, find community, and just don't be rigid about your approach or your vision for your life. Because at the end of the day, you really want to think about how you want to live your life as well. Where does your career fit in with that? So that's always my advice to young folks, because the world is just amazing, especially for them. Like, wow, I wish I could just be transported
so many opportunities,
back.
Right?
So many. And sometimes I want to like rebirth myself and be a kid again. Like, what can I just do right now? Like, just because they're so untethered, the creator economy, all of that, so much fun. And the last thing I would say is definitely lean on the old heads. Like, you know, check in with those that have been embedded in the community and ask them to be mentors and to give you advice on your journey as well. So that's what I would say. That's what I have said.
I think that you can feel this energy, right? It's I can say how to describe it, but Christine, thank you so much. Your energy, your point of view, your mindset, it's something that inspired me and all of us, actually.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.